Here's what's coming up next on PBSU Lifestyle Learning.
Today on Handyma'am, part 2 of our kitchen makeover. We're going to be laying a ceramic tile floor, stripping off wallpaper, and adding a decorative touch to the walls. Plus, we'll be adding window treatments. We've got all that coming right up for you on Handyma'am.
Major funding for Handyma'am with Beverly Dejulio is provided by Ace Hardware.
If your home could use a little TLC, you can get help at Ace and love your home again. Ace is a place for the helpful hardware folks.
I'm Beverly Dejulio, Handyma'am, and thanks a lot for stopping by. Well, we are in the middle of a kitchen makeover. This kitchen, well, the home was built in the early 60s, and for almost 40 years, the kitchen remained pretty much the same. In fact, take a look at what we started out with. The first thing that we did on our last program was to refinish the kitchen cabinets. We took off the old finish and now applied a nice new finish on them, new handles. The countertop was installed on our last program, as well as the dishwasher. Well, we have it partially installed. We have to finish it up after we put the floor in. The appliances were delivered and installed, and now today we're going to concentrate on the walls and the floor. In fact, Chris and Angel are set up over there. You're going to be showing a paint technique, right?
That's right, Mom. Well, Chris and I have started these walls. We've taken down some of the wallpaper, but first take a look at what the room looked like beforehand. The wallpaper up was probably about 30 years old. Well, we've started taking the wallpaper down. We have some stages here for you. And our wallpaper, we were lucky. It just peeled off for us. And you may not be that lucky, and if you're not, what you're going to need to do is score your wallpaper. Use a wallpaper remover on top of it, and that'll break down the adhesive that holds the wallpaper on. Your next step, after you get your wallpaper off, you're going to feel it's kind of rough. That's the adhesive that's still on there. So I'm going to take the wallpaper remover and just wipe that wall down, and that's going to start breaking down all that adhesive that's on the wall. Once I'm done doing that, I'm going to wash the wall down just with water, just to get all that residue off, and then go over the whole wall with a TSP to get the rest of the residue. Now my next step is going to be to address the holes. This is probably the largest hole that you'd want to spackle. Beyond that, you need to do a patch there. So here's the hole I'm going to fill. And once I get this hole filled and taken care of, my next step would be to sand it once it's dry. Wipe the wall down again to get any of the sand residue off your wall. Prime it. And then Chris is going to show us how we're going to be painting.
Right, well, I'm glad you got those in stages, Angel, because it did give me a chance to go ahead and paint this section, and it has dried. Now, the first thing you want to do in your basic painting is mask off. We went ahead and masked around all the trim work and up at the ceiling so you don't get your wall paint on the ceiling. Once you've done that, you're ready to start cutting in. Now, what cutting in is basically making an outline, kind of like when you're coloring. What you'll do is take an angled brush or one of the cutting in trim pads, and they do make a lot of different tools out there, so take a look. But take a little bit of your paint and go along your edges, again outlining the whole area that you're going to be painting. Now once that's done, what you'll do is take a roller. Now all I'm using is a thin napped roller because these are very smooth walls. Now when you start in about a 4-foot section and roll in an M pattern first, and that's just up and down like this, and then side to side, and you'll be filling in those blank areas. Now then I'll probably reload for the next section, move down, and then here's where the M is really important. You want to roll up into the paint that's still wet, and this helps blend it together. Again, side to side. Once this entire 4-foot section is done, what you want to do is get an extension pole, or this one's pretty cool. It just rolls right down. You lock it in place. take it and don't add any more paint. Just take it like it is and drag down in one continuous stroke. And of course do that on the entire section. Well, now that this is done and dry, we're ready to start with a nice painting technique.
Well, here's our demo board.
Oh, great, Angel. Thanks for bringing that in. This is the technique we're going to be doing. We're going to do a border all around the top of the wall, and it's called leaf stamping. Now, of course, there's all kinds of pre-made stamps that you can purchase, but what we did I thought was pretty clever. We went out in the homeowner's yard and we picked up some leaves, and we're going to use those to actually stamp the impressions on the wall.
And the border here we did with a stamper sponge. So I'm going to go ahead while you explain that and mask off for that.
Okay, great. Thanks, Angel.
You're welcome.
The first thing to do is, of course, gather your leaves. We did get a bunch of those, and what you want to do is flatten them out. Well, this is where an old paperback book that you've read comes in handy. Put your leaves in there, flatten it down, and then take a rubber band to secure it, and that makes sure it does stay nice and tight. Leave these just overnight. You don't want them to completely dry or they'll become brittle. Once they are flattened out, though, take your leaves, I'll get rid of the paintbrushes here, and put them between 2 sheets of wax paper. Now what this is going to do, I'm going to be ironing them. Make sure you put an old cloth or something underneath the wax paper so that doesn't wind up on your ironing board or your pressing surface, and then another old cloth on top of the wax paper so you don't get it all over your iron. Now go ahead and press this for about 10 to 15 seconds. Now, the whole gist behind the wax paper is, first of all, what it's going to do is protect the leaf. It'll keep it from becoming too brittle and breaking. Also, because it's a wax film, it'll keep the paint from absorbing in. That way it'll release better on your wall. So once those are covered with wax, you're ready to turn it into a stamp. Now all I've done, I started stamping with the plain leaves and I found, you know what, I need these to be a little bit sturdier. So I put them on a cardboard backing. Let me show you here. The leaf is on the front and I made a cardboard backing. The most important thing is we're going to be stamping with the vein side. So when you make the stamp, put it right side down, trace around it, cut it out, and glue that leaf down to the cardboard cutout. I also added a nice little handle out of just a small piece of cardboard so it's easier to stamp. Well, let me see if Angel is done masking off and we're ready to do this nice leaf stamping.
As you see, we have finished masking off, and the reason we have 4 different levels, so to say, is because my striping is going to go on the top and on the bottom, like on our demo board.
Right, and the reason that we did drop it down from the ceiling is because there is a soffit area in the kitchen that we wanted to center the border on. So we found out that a 2-inch piece of masking tape was a perfect border at the top that will remain yellow. And one thing to point out, as you're going around the room masking off, make sure that you measure, mark, and use a level to stay even, right?
Exactly. Well, what I'm using for the striping is a sponge stamper, and you can use a regular sea sponge, but this is nice because it has a handle. I'm using regular acrylic paint, a little watered down, and what I'm doing is loading up my sponge, blotting off, and I want to make sure I get all that water off because I don't want it to run. And I'm only using the top portion of my sponge.
That's so it doesn't get in the center section, right?
Exactly. And just go as heavy as you like it, step back, make sure all your lines are...
Right, and you can go back and fill in any areas that you miss.
And you can highlight too.
Absolutely. With that masking tape too, when I pull back this edge that's dry, it is a very straight line. So it really does look like a nice stripe. Well, for the stamps, how we did that was we took our leaf stamps that we made earlier and used the same acrylic paints, thinned down with water. And this one, the oak leaf, I'm going to use a little bit of brown and a little bit of green on the same leaf. And that way it looks a little bit more realistic, like fall, right, Angel?
Definitely.
And this takes just a little bit of time here, but really you don't have to make it look nice on the leaf. Just kind of blend it together. And make sure you get it a little bit on the stem also because you want that impression. And then carefully go up to the wall. And I'm going to slant it backwards. Does that look about even, the space?
Yep.
Okay. And then just press. And what you want to do is sort of wiggle your fingers around all of the edges to make sure that the stamp is...
Stem.
Yeah, I get the stem is right. And then pull it back. Now, any of the areas that it didn't leave the impression, I'm going to just take a little bit of that paint and go back over and kind of just blend it in. You might want to thin it down with water again too
Right, because on the demo board there are areas that are open.
Right. And that's looking good, but you don't want to make a drip, right, Angel?
Right.
But you can always fix any mistakes that you might think that you made. See how that's filling in nicely on that side?
Great, Chris.
Well, we have a lot more stamping to do, but why don't you take a look at what it all looks like when the border is complete. Well, we're in the process of making some window treatments for the kitchen remodel, and we're going to totally replace the one on the door window. We're going to take the heavier rods down and put a smaller rod up. New fabric treatment for there. But over the kitchen sink, take a look at the old one. We're going to use the same shutters and just freshen them up a little bit.
Right, they're in great condition, they're sturdy, they just needed to be cleaned up a little bit, and we're going to put a fresh coat of paint on like we did to all the walls. And you're going to show me how do I get these out?
Okay, well we are going to be replacing this gold fabric. We're going to ditch that and replace it with a green teal fabric like this. And Angel, what do you notice on that fabric?
The leaf.
Yeah, we couldn't get away from that leaf theme that we're going for. But first you need to remove these panels first. Just take a flat bladed screwdriver, pop that in
from
the
this
hole.
side?
Yeah, there's like a channel that the rod is in.
Okay.
Be careful there. And once that first side is
there we
loose,
go.
there you go. The rest is going to come out nice and easy. Now once you remove the fabric for both panels, you're ready to clean it up, paint it, and then move on to making your
keep the
paint.
rods, right?
Absolutely. We're going to be reusing everything there.
Let me get this out of our way.
Okay. Now for the fabric, in order to determine the length and width that you need to cut the panels, go to your window, whether it be your shutter window like this or the window on your door. Measure the width or the opening, and then take that measurement times 3. And what that allows for is all this nice gathering.
Right.
And remember, with all of your window treatments or any sewing or projects like that, you need to add for a seam allowance or hem on the sides. We added about an inch for the width, and then for the length, we measured top to bottom, and we added quite a bit more. Angel, do you want to show them how you determine how much to add?
Well, we added 1.5 inches according to ours because this is the size rod that we're using. But you want to add accordingly to the type of size rod that you have.
Right, so the larger the rod, the bigger the pocket.
The bigger the pocket
opening
needs to be for the rod to
and really,
fit through.
that's as simple as it's going to be. You could sew this project, but hey, we're going to make it even easier. We're going to do a no-sew project with fusible hem tape. Really, it's just sticky webbing that it glues down with a hot iron. For your sides, what we did is we folded over 1/4 inch, pressed it, and then folded it over again. I've already finished this side, but again, I put the fusible webbing between, ironed it down, and glued it down. Let me show you though on the pocket side. Over here, to make your rod pocket, go ahead and fold over 1/4 inch and press, and what this is going to give is a nice finished edge on the back side. Now go ahead and fold over about another inch and press it just so it stays in place there, and then I'll know where to place the hem tape.
Okay.
So just a little tip for you, you'd go all the way down, but go ahead and place that. It's kind of gets a little fumbly here with your hands, but all you need to do is press with a hot iron for about 15 seconds. Again, read the directions that come with your particular manufacturer's tape. And Angel, do you want to show them the finished pocket?
Then you'll take your rod, and we have our pocket already made down here. I'll put it in, leave a little extra here for me to hold on to, and I'm going to just start gathering it until it comes out the other side. And then I can make my adjustments accordingly.
Right, and of course, if you were sewing, those would all be straight stitches that we were doing where we had the tape. Now, once we're completely done with that, we'll take the whole panel and place it right back in the channels at the top and bottom. And remember, for that door window, we'll just put the rod on top and bottom and slide the window treatment on the same way. So what an easy window treatment, and we didn't spend a lot of money because we're reusing an old item.
Well, we're in the home stretch for our kitchen makeover. We've taken care of the walls. Our cabinets have been refinished. We haven't hung the doors yet, but we are really counting down now. And we're going to take care of the floor. Now, to take care of the floor, we're going to be putting down ceramic tile. Our friend Pete Latisi from Century Tile has joined me. You do seminars showing people how to put down tile,
Yes,
right?
I do. In the last 5.5 years, I've probably done 1,500 seminars.
1,500 seminars. This man knows his business. So who better to come and give me a little bit of a refresher course, because I have put down ceramic tile, but it's been a little while, and for my daughter Angel to learn from. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for asking me. I
Well, but
appreciate
now
it.
we're going to put you to work, so don't be too excited about it, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you've already done some work in the room, Pete. Let's tell them what you've done first.
Okay, when we first walked into the kitchen, we noticed that there was an old 9x9 tile on the floor, which may contain asbestos. So the industry says we do not want to get involved with the asbestos tile, so what we decided to do was take cement board and go directly over the old floor.
So that's the recommended way to do it,
Yes.
if you suspect. Okay.
Yes, it is.
And then squeaks. I know you want to get rid of all those squeaks,
Yes.
right?
Majority of your homes do have squeaks in them because you're remodeling, so the house is years older. So what you want to do is find your floor joists and then take some 8-penny nails and re-nail the floor joist. What you're doing now is you're attaching the 3/4 inch plywood back down to your floor joist.
Making that
solid
solid.
floor to go over.
And now we've got our cement board
Yes.
over most of the floor. And the main thing, you want to offset the seams, right?
Yes, when you install your cement board, you do not want to have all the seams running together. So a minimum of 8 inches span would be fine.
That helps strengthen the floor.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so we're at a point where we need to get the rest of the cement board down, and then we'll plan out the tile, right?
Okay, yes, we will.
Let's
Thanks.
do it. Well, Pete has all of the cement board in now, and there's one word that he told me is very important when you're putting in a tile floor, and that is,
Patience.
Patience.
Number one word in doing layout in ceramic tile.
and that's pretty true of all of our do-it-yourself projects. Boy,
Yes,
if you
it
don't
is.
have patience, oh, you can just pull your hair out sometimes,
problem.
right? Well, you've started helping us with patience, though, because this is the layout, right?
Yes.
Portion.
What we did, we started off this wall with a full tile, and we put in our spacers in between the tiles. Now, when you place in a spacer, do not take the spacer and lay it down in the floor. You want to stand it up like this so it doesn't embed into the tile. You probably know somebody that's done that.
Were you there when I did it? I did do that. And the thing of it is, your grout, you have plastic and then a little bit of grout on top
That's
of that
exactly
plastic.
right.
It can
So
crack.
it'll crack right there.
Yep, yep.
So what we did was
Been there,
started
done that.
with a full tile, laid out tile spacer, but
Right.
as you can see, we ended up with a 1-inch piece down here.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So you don't-
And if those cabinets are a little bit angled, you'd have a sliver maybe at the
That's
other
exactly
side.
right.
Yeah.
So what we've done is taken a piece of tile, we've used our ceramic tile cutter,
Mm-hmm.
we've cut the tile in half, and what we're going to do is start with a half piece of tile off this wall, and then put in our spacer tile, and that will give us a bigger cut at the cabinets.
And we'll do the same thing going the other way.
The opposite length,
Yeah,
that's right.
so that you want close to a half a tile. It's not always going to be exact, but close.
That's exactly right.
Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and do that.
Yes.
Snap some chalk lines, and then we'll start putting that thin set down, right?
Yes, we will.
Let's do it. The cement board is down. We've snapped the chalk lines. Angel has joined us, but she's been paying attention from the sideline.
Yes, I have.
Right? And now before when I've done tiling, I would snap 2 chalk lines perpendicular to each other, more or less in the middle after I did my layout.
Yes.
But you said a grid is good. Tell us
Yes.
about that.
A grid is very important because what that does is that allows you to constantly check your work. We're going to be doing 2 tiles in our grid. What that means is we're going to set a piece of tile down. Angel, you're going to stand up
Okay.
that spacer. We're going to stand up this spacer. We're going to snug it up.
And by 2 tiles, I mean that's what you could comfortably reach to, right?
You're going to be able to kneel down and trowel on thin set cement. I can do this and you can do it. You and Angel can do this all day.
Right.
So what you have to do is the rule here is 2 tiles, 2 grout joints.
Okay,
1
and then-
tile, 1 grout joint, 4 tiles, 4 grout joints.
Right.
Very
Right.
simple rule
Okay.
of thumb.
And then you measure
So we
from-
measure off that tile to
Make sure you
include the grout
include that.
joint. To the edge of this tile is 24 inches. So after you pop your 2 initial chalk lines, after that you constantly pop chalk lines every 24 inches.
And you're
This way
just
you're
double
constantly
checking
keeping
yourself.
yourself
Right. I
under
great
guard
tip.
and right.
Yeah. Okay, now you also have some good tips for us in putting down the thin set. And pay attention here. I learned
Okay.
a couple of things too.
Okay,
Look
one
at
thing
this.
you must remember is that whatever size tile you're setting, you have to use a proper notch trowel. Today we're going to be using a trowel that's 1/4 wide by 1/4 deep.
And by that you mean the teeth.
The
part,
teeth in the
right?
trowel. The trowel has a smooth flat edge and a teeth edge for the comb edge. We're going to take the smooth flat edge and we're going to put down a skim coat. I would suggest that you and Angel both work away from the chalk line.
So-
rather than taking the cement and working towards them,
Oh, yeah,
you may have
cover
a
it up.
tendency to cover them.
Right.
Now you don't know where to set your
And now
tile.
this thin set is going to fill in the seams in between.
Any seams and any slight voids that are in the floor, but there shouldn't be any.
Yeah.
So we're going to put down a skim coat, which again is called keying in the material. Reverse the trowel, and we're going to trowel on the thin set cement. Once again, we're working away from the chalk line.
You know almost exactly how much of that thin set to put down to cover that area.
Well, Matt, that was a lucky guess on my part.
Well, but I'm sure experience helps with that, because a lot of times I've had to dip back down into my bucket, you know, to
And
add.
get more thin set.
Yeah.
You will notice that when I did this first troweling, all these trowel marks are running in different directions. That's okay until you finish the grid, but you have to do one more sweep of the trowel.
Before you put the tile down.
Right. When you do that last sweep of the trowel, all these trowel marks have to be running in one direction.
And now, why is that, or will you show us why?
Yes, I'm going to show you why this
Okay.
has to be. Now
And
we're going to...
I guess probably across would be the best
Yes,
and easiest way.
or
to
this
do
way,
it.
whichever is more comfortable
But yeah,
for you,
I think
okay?
that would be most
Now we're going to
comfortable.
take our first piece of tile, we're going to set it, because we're all tile setters, we're not tile layers. My
Okay.
fingers are the thin set, press it into the thin set and set it.
Aha, straight down in.
Right, so we touch both chalk lines.
That
You'll
line
touch
and
this
that
one and this one. Put your hand in the center of the tile, set it. All the trowel marks are running in this direction. We're going to go up and back a ½ inch. The reason being, when you trowel in every different direction, you create dams in the thin set. If there's air trapped underneath there, it has no way of eliminating it.
And the tile could get loose.
Right.
Or your
So now
grout,
if there's any
whichever.
air trapped underneath there, it has a way of coming out.
Good tips,
And all you
good
have to
tips.
do is just follow these chalk lines.
Okay, and then the spacers, couple of
Yes.
spacers, and another,
I'll set this one in.
okay,
And I suggest that you almost touch this tile.
okay.
Set it in, set your tile up
Half
and
inch,
back,
half inch.
put your
then-
spacer, stand it in,
Good.
about an inch in from the edge of the tile, and then snug it up.
Move it in, okay.
And that's it.
And then we're ready for a cut tile. Now on vinyl tile, and I don't know if it's the same on ceramic, but I've done it with ceramic, is to lay a full tile and then make your marks when you are almost against the side, but you do have to make allowance for that grout line.
Yes, but because we do have grout joints, what I used to do is just measure off the wall and then allow for the grout joints. So we'd cut this tile 7½ inches.
So you take the measurement, if your grout line is 1/4 inch, subtract that off.
Exactly right.
And then that's what
Then
you
you
cut
would
it
take
to.
this tile, you would drop it in, hand in the
Same way,
center,
back
set it,
and forth.
up, back, bring down a spacer about an inch in from the edge of the tile, and then just snug them up.
And that's the basics, right?
Yes.
Of the whole floor.
Yes, it is.
So-
both of you could do this.
Let's get going.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay, let's do it. Well, it looks like we're tiling ourselves right out of the
Yes,
room.
we are.
Which is what you want to do, right?
Exactly right.
Don't want to end up in a corner. But, you know, we're going to finish this up, but what do we have to prepare? Anything for the grouting, or how long do we wait?
Okay, the next procedure is the grouting. By the way, you've done an excellent job with this floor.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Grouting. I would wait 48 hours to grout.
Okay.
Then you could walk into the room, kneel down, mix your grout, pick up your spacers, grout the floor, wash and clean it. You're on your way.
Guess what?
What?
We're going to finish up here and meet you in 48 hours, okay?
Okay,
All right.
I'll be here. Thank you.
Well, Pete and I are here. We're ready to grout. Why don't I go ahead and start putting the grout in the lines, and you kind of explain the process?
Okay, fine. We're going to take some water, a little bit of water, put it in the bottom of the bucket. We're going to add the powder. We're going to mix the grout. We're going to let it sit for about 3 to 5 minutes, re-stir it, apply it to the floor. Steady pressure on the grout float, always grouting diagonally, making sure we fill them. We're going to let the grout sit on the floor for 3 to 5 minutes. take a damp sponge, circular motions, wring out the sponge, and wash diagonally across the grout joints.
Always diagonally, right, Pete?
Yes, because you don't want to leave any divots in the grout joint.
Okay, well, we're going to go ahead, Pete and I, finish this up, but I'm going to thank Pete right now for being with us.
Well,
this was
thank you.
great.
It was my pleasure.
And then we'll do a few finishing touches, and we'll showcase this kitchen makeover for you. The floor is all done, the grout is dry, and you know you want to wait about 24 hours before you walk on the floor when you do this type of project. Now, if you didn't see the first program that we did on our kitchen makeover here, let me show you some of the things that we did. First of all, take a look at the cabinets before. What we did was to take off the old finish and then look at the new ones. We put on a new finish with, well, it's a poly with a little stain in it. Then we saw the countertops fabricated, and we converted a portable dishwasher into an under the counter. And then, of course, today we did those window treatments. And then take a look at the walls before with the wallpaper. That wallpaper had been hung in the 60s, and now with just a little bit of paint and that special painted border that we did. What a difference. And then, of course, the tile floor. We matched up tile for the backsplash. So that doesn't really complete it, though. Now, next program, we're going to have a Frank Lloyd Wright special, but then after that program, we're going to come back to this kitchen and do some finishing touches. You won't want to miss that. Well, that's it today from Handyma'am. Stop by again real soon.
To learn more about Handyma'am with Beverly Dejulio, visit us at PBS Online at the internet address on your screen. Major funding for Handyma'am with Beverly Dejulio was provided by Ace Hardware.
Of all the things you can get at Ace, perhaps the best is peace of mind. Ace is a place for the helpful hardware folks.
This is PBS.
Here's what's coming up next on PBSU Lifestyle Learning. PBSU is dedicated to the enrichment of our viewers' lives and is made possible by your support of your local PBS station. You're watching PBSU Lifestyle Learning.